Welcome to This Explainer. We're diving straight into one of the most phenomenal and consequential sequences in literary history today. We're going to look at the exact chain of events that pushed the Mahabharata past the point of no return. Seriously, how does a single event spiral into an absolutely unavoidable, catastrophic war? Well, let's break down the anatomy of a conflict that honestly still resonates with us today.
Imagine dropping right into the desperate, incredibly high-stakes environment of the Hastinapura royal court. The emperor, Yudhisthira, has just uttered words that should chill the blood of literally any leader. We have nothing left to lose. But how did the king of righteousness end up completely backed into a corner like this? It all stems from a perfectly laid trap.
That brings us to Phase 1, the destructive game of dice. What began as a seemingly innocent invitation from the Kauravas was in reality a masterfully rigged political snare. Picture Yudhishthira under this intoxicating pressure of the game, bound by his strict adherence to duty, playing against a master manipulator like Shakuni. Piece by piece, an entire empire is just dismantled. Yudhishthira bets his immense wealth and kingdom. He loses. Then he wagers his 4 highly skilled brothers. He loses. In total desperation, he bets his own freedom. He loses that too. Finally, pushed by relentless enemy taunts, he makes the most shocking wager of all, Queen Draupadi. And yeah, he loses her too.
And that brings us to this absolutely crushing reality. Shakuni triumphantly announces, "Now all 5 of you have become my slaves." The mighty Pandava brothers are forced to physically remove their royal crowns right then and there. They're stripped of their wealth and dignity in the blink of an eye. But the tragic domino effect, it's really only just beginning.
Moving into Phase 2, Draupadi's humiliation and her vow. This is where the whole conflict dramatically shifts from a political loss of territory into a profound moral outrage.
Draupadi stands there and poses this brilliant, incredibly fierce, and entirely logical question to the silent court. If the emperor had already lost his own freedom, what legal or moral right did he possess to wager her? It's a paradox, right? It completely paralyzes the elders, exposing this massive crisis of justice where the kingdom's established laws completely fail to protect her.
So, as diplomacy and logic completely fail, the Kauravas resort to horrific physical humiliation, an event known as the Chir Haran. Dushasana violently drags Queen Draupadi by her hair into the assembly. In a gross display of power, Duryodhana commands her to sit on his thigh. Then, Dushasana actually attempts to physically strip her right in front of the silent, paralyzed elders. But as the source text reveals, an unseen, divine power, Lord Krishna, intervenes when all earthly protections vanish. Her sari miraculously extends infinitely, protecting her modesty and entirely thwarting their attack.
The sheer trauma of this event instantly shatters any illusion of future brotherhood. Bhima makes a terrifying blood-soaked vow to smash Duryodhana's thigh and wash away the insult with Dushasana's blood. Make no mistake, this exact moment is the psychological point of no return. War is no longer just a possibility, it's a destiny.
All right, on to Phase 3, the terms of exile and going incognito. After a very brief return of their kingdom, mainly out of fear, Duryodhana's sheer stubbornness forces one final, definitive game of dice.
Of course, the Pandavas lose again, and the punishment is basically a severe ticking clock. Years 1 through 12 require vanvas, complete exile out in the harsh forest. But year 13 is the real trap, agyatvas. They have to live entirely incognito. If they're discovered even once, the 12-year cycle begins all over again. As they leave, Draupadi makes a grim promise, leaving her hair untied as a constant, highly visible reminder of her vow for vengeance.
Fast forward exactly 13 years. The Pandavas actually complete this punishing exile, which brings us to Phase 4, Sri Krishna's peace proposal. This is literally the ultimate contrast in negotiation styles. On one side, you have Krishna making an incredibly accommodating offer. Forget the empire, just grant 5 mere villages for peace. On the other side, Duryodhana's blinding arrogance. He explicitly states he will not yield even a needle point of land without war. He actively chooses total conflict over a microscopic compromise.
Duryodhana's hubris hits a fatal peak here. He actually attempts to arrest the peace envoy. He foolishly orders his guards to throw chains on Krishna. In response, Krishna reveals his breathtaking, universe-spanning cosmic form.
He delivers a chilling warning, reminding the court of the devastating divine weapons the Pandavas possess, weapons granted by Shiva, Brahma, and Kali. He explicitly declares that the Kauravas' sheer arrogance and refusal to share even a speck of earth will lead directly to their utter ruin on the battlefield.
And that leads us right into Phase 5, the inevitable declaration of war. Once Krishna departs, the die is well and truly cast. The time for talking is officially over.
Looking at the Kaurava command structure, we see a formidable but deeply, deeply fractured army. You've got the patriarch Bhishma taking command, bound by an unbreakable oath to protect the throne, even though it means fighting his beloved Pandavas. Plus, massive internal ego clashes erupt, like Karna flat out refusing to fight under Bhishma's leadership. The army is immense, sure, but it's fundamentally divided by personal vows and pride.
So, this brings us to the final, profound question for this explainer. Was this impending war merely a brutal fight for land and ego? Or was it a necessary cosmic reset to restore Dharma? You know, when kings strip queens of their dignity in open court, and leaders choose total annihilation over sharing just 5 villages, perhaps a system failure has occurred that only a great fire can cleanse. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really encourage you to ponder this as you reflect on the domino effect we've uncovered today. Until next time, keep learning.